So moving on to the challenge of the joint statement, there were questions whether it will come or it will be difficult. So if you can perhaps give us some insight as to how this miracle to many, to use the word, happened, in a sense that the joint statement came, the consensus, how did it emerge?
Within the realms of what is publicly disclosable, I would say, at one level, there was always the belief this was G20. There's never been a G20 summit without a statement. But of course, the G20 has never faced the kind of problems that it has. At the same time, we were also confident. We are India. Our relationships with the other G19 are very strong. They will surely appreciate why the Indian presidency must be successful. And then at a third level, I think you never take in diplomacy anything for granted. So, the negotiators were working to bridge the gaps, to find the formulations, to close out the positions. If they hit a roadblock, which they did in the last, it would always happen, then they would take it up, sometimes come to me on occasion if necessary, which happened finally in the last day of the summit. I had to go to even to the Prime Minister on certain issues. So all of that, came together. In terms of how did it happen, I would say, there were certain countries, certainly, Brazil, South Africa, India, clearly in the lead, Indonesia to some extent. I think you can say the countries in the middle took a lot of initiative in trying to find a common landing ground. But again, I would give credit to the entire G20. I mean, this wouldn't have happened if every one of the G20 countries didn't feel that need to step up and, come together.
So there was this Ukraine challenge as well. We saw the final document mentioning Ukraine, extensive mention. Do you see the West somehow backing out? I mean, the statement wasn't something that saw any condemnation against Russia?
I think there's a very misplaced debate that somehow, you are successful if you have managed to replicate what was done last year. Last year was last year. This year is this year. Many things have happened in between. Common sense would tell you that you would want all those issues included. After all, in any other activity, today we are sitting on the 13th of September. You would not like on 13th of September 2023 that you sum up a situation which was there, say, 13th of September 2022. You will want to capture everything out there. Now, if you have to capture everything, you will have to come up with a new mix of issues, and obviously with its own formulations. And I think certainly people wanted to capture the Black Sea grain corridor. They wanted to capture the concerns about the food infrastructure. They wanted to capture the fact that there was a dialogue taking place. So all those became new elements. If something came in, the rest of it has to accommodate it. No? So I think, this way of reading it, saying, there's a departure from the past. Yes, there is. But then also please see what is new. You can't get new things if you don't give up some old things.
The role of the developing countries, we have successive presidencies which are countries of the South, Indonesia, India, South Africa, Brazil. Role of these countries together to make sure that the consensus emerged.
Look, to some extent it was a convergence of outlook, that these countries thought in a similar way. But to some extent it's a coincidence. We succeeded Indonesia, Brazil is succeeding us, South Africa is coming after that. So you had 4 developing country presidencies also. So that was also a factor. But it was both. It was also a meeting of minds.